Hello again, 240. In this video, we will conclude Jackie Robinson from Chapter 8 in Part 2. And as you'll recall, in the spring training of 1947, Robinson had to adapt to a new position of first base in order to make the big club. And Brooklyn fans were enthusiastic in their support. His first major test came early in the season at Philadelphia, where manager Ben Chapman, a native of the Deep South, fueled a racially charged verbal barrage from the Phillies dugout. The abuse continued throughout the game, and as Robinson recalled, it was one of the most difficult days of his life. I felt tortured, and I tried to just play ball and ignore the insults, he later wrote in his autobiography, but it was really getting to me. I was, after all, a human being. For one wild and rage-crazed minute, I thought, to hell with Mr. Ricky's noble experiment. To hell with the image of the patient black freak I was supposed to create. I could throw down my bat, stride over to that Phillies dugout, grab one of those white sons of bitches and smash his teeth in with my despised black fist. Then I could walk away from it all. Of course he did not do so, but he scored the only run of the game. An effective response. The Dodgers went on to sweep the Phillies in 3 games, and a heavy cloud of fear and doubt that he felt began to lift. Later, Robinson calmly told a Pittsburgh Courier reporter, "The things the Phillies shouted at me from their bench have been shouted at me from other benches, and I am not worried about it. They sound just the same in the big league as they did in the minor league." Robinson was lifted by the fact that the Phillies' dreadful conduct galvanized his own team behind him, Southerners included. Dixie Walker admonished his fellow Alabaman Ben Chapman, and Dodgers second baseman Eddie Stanky, who went on to a long managerial career in the major leagues, was reported to have shouted across the field, "Listen, you yellow-bellied cowards, why don't you yell at somebody who can answer back?" Branch Rickey had, of course, helped prepare Jackie for the ordeal, and he later said, "Chapman did more than anybody to unite the Dodgers. When he poured out that string of unconscionable abuse, he solidified and unified 30 men. Chapman made Jackie a real member of the Dodgers." The pressure nonetheless continued throughout the season. On the road, Robinson had to stay in private homes in several cities because some hotels used by the Dodgers would not accept him. He was dismayed by the thousands of hate letters he received, many of them containing death threats. But these were more than offset by a tidal wave of letters and telegrams of encouragement. On the field, he was the target of many high and fast pitches. By July, he had already set a record for the number of times HBP, or hit by pitch. Pitchers, of course, attempted to intimidate all rookies with inside pitches. They're not wearing helmets, ladies and gentlemen, in those days. But they discovered that if they hit Jackie, he would promptly make them pay by stealing second base. The tight inside pitches became less frequent as the season passed. By the end of the 1947 season, Robinson had more than justified the trust displayed by Branch Rickey in selecting him from among several candidates for this historic role. He batted .297, scored 125 runs, and stole 29 bases, while fielding his first base position skillfully. He had helped his team win the pennant that preceded an epic 7-game World Series battle with the Yankees, but the Yankees triumphed. In 1948, the Boston Braves will win the National League pennant, and they will lose to the Cleveland Indians in the World Series. After the 47 season, Robinson was named Rookie of the Year by the Venerable Sporting News, edited by J.G. Taylor Spink, who had long been an outspoken opponent of integration of organized baseball. As the Dodgers closed in on the pennant in late September, Time magazine put Robinson's picture on its cover. He had, by his quiet courage and resolute play, captured the hearts of a people who liked to root for the underdog. He was truly a historic figure. And there's the picture of Robinson on the cover, and he had used sports as a means of breaking down racial stereotypes and taboos. As such, he did much to prepare the nation for the civil rights movement that would soon take wing. Robinson did not join the Dodgers until he was nearly 28 years of age, but he enjoyed success until he retired after the 1956 season. With Eddie Stanky traded after the 1947 season, Robinson moved to his natural position of second base and fielded at a Gold Glove level. A Gold Glove is awarded after the season by various publications for fielding excellence, usually for having the least amount of errors at their position. And Robinson helped propel the Dodgers to 5 more National League pennants. And in 1949, he was named the league's most valuable player after a season in which he batted .342, stole 37 bases, and batted in 124 runs as the Dodgers beat out the Cardinals on the last day of the season. But alas, the dreaded Yankees again beat the Dodgers in the World Series. And there's a picture of Robinson doing what he did many times in his career. He's stealing home plate. And this is against the Phillies in 1950, who would beat the Dodgers on the last day of the season, as Brooklyn did to St. Louis the year before, on a Dick Sisler home run to capture the National League pennant, where they then faced the Yankees in the World Series. In 1951, the New York Giants will beat the Dodgers in a 1-game playoff. The famous Miracle of Coogan's Bluff, the miracle at the Polo Grounds, as Bobby Thompson hit a dramatic home run off Ralph Branca to win the pennant for the Giants. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. And that image is from Bettman Corvus. Thank you very much. And he's a perennial member of the All-Star team and recognized as a leader both on and off the field. Once again, the Dodgers win the pennant in '52, and in that World Series, he helped rally the Dodgers to tie the series at 3 games apiece, but they lost to the Yankees in Game 7. And in 1953, they are again frustrated by the Yankees. In 1954, the New York Giants will again win the National League pennant, and they will sweep the record-setting Cleveland Indians, who had 4 20-game winners that year, but the Giants swept them in the World Series behind the miraculous play of Willie Mays and his famous catch in center field that broke the back of the Indians. But in 1955, the Dodgers finally broke through to take the World Series in 7 games over the Yankees. Showing his years, Robinson missed 40 games that season due to injuries, while his batting average fell to .259. Feeling the effects of the onset of diabetes, and with his skills now rapidly eroding, and with a trade to the Crosstown Giants in the works, he retired after the 1956 season. And in 1962, Jackie Robinson was the first African-American elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, winning admission the first time he was eligible for consideration. And that's very, very rare, ladies and gentlemen. And there's Robinson with his Hall of Fame plaque. And that's from When It Was a Game.net story. And the previous picture of him stealing home was from the New York Daily News. Following his retirement, Robinson entered several business relationships and spoke out vigorously on civil rights issues. However, by the mid-1960s, his health had visibly declined from diabetes, and by 1970 he could barely walk and had lost sight of one eye and most in the other. Losing weight but unable to control either his high blood pressure or his cholesterol levels, he suffered a series of strokes and a heart attack, and on October 24, 1972, at the age of 53, the brave and outspoken man who had broken the color line of baseball was gone much too early. And in 1997, Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig announced that on the 50th anniversary of Robinson's first season with the Dodgers, that his number 42, and we will watch that video by the same name, would be retired by all baseball teams. If a player was wearing 42 at the time, they could continue until their career was completed. And the Yankees' Mariano Rivera, the famous relief pitcher, was the last Major League Baseball player to wear number 42.